What's up, guys? This is the pre-New York or the pre, or sorry, Jesus Christ. Let's try this again. So this is the daily look ahead for Wednesday, June 8th. Just have a quick look at the 4 hour first. You can see that if we kind of snap this across this entire supply range, I guess that would be like an 8 hour candle. You can see that we essentially liquidate these highs. We push in, get the sweep of liquidity that comes in this zone. Now, one of the things I am going to just make mention of, we sort of mentioned this in the trade recap today, is that there is still a possibility of, if we look at the 15 minute, I've got a couple refined zones sitting here as well. But if you look at this as the entire structural leg, right, and this just pushes down, we get the boss. We have mitigated the 50%, but we do get, in my opinion, relatively poor delivery. It's tough to really understand whether or not we will potentially come down something into this level and then sweep up. Excuse me. God damn it, I'm so sick of sneezing. So, just kind of looking at this, like there's a couple levels in which we could potentially induce, coming up into deeper portions of the POY. So when we start getting into these things, if and when this happens, of course, the way to be prepared for it would be essentially look for the initial tap in and ideally get a sweep of that. Once we get the sweep, I would say look to the left and see if there is a possible for a refined POY after we've induced these highs. And then we could potentially look for the 1 minute refined within here to kind of confirm with the seconds chart. This is about the only way that I would sort of start looking at this is if we do get that nice sweep sort of behavior in here, looking for that 1 minute realignment. And then we can take the 15 minute POY or 1 minute refined POY to a 3 minute POY. So we are counter order flow. That basically shifted when we did something like this. The flip side of things, depending if you're trading Asia or whatever, if and when we do get a take on liquidity and followed by an order flow shift, we can then start to look for, excuse me again, goodness, can't stop sneezing. Let's start looking at levels in here, as long as we have levels of liquidity to take, etc., etc. So that's kind of on the sell side of things. Now, on the sort of buy side of things, we've had an order flow shift. We've also had a internal structure break. Depending on how delivery sort of happens down into this extreme. I mean, again, we're kind of like, we're banking on this area being weak. The more favorable position for me personally is going to be sells. Ideally, I would like to see this kind of jump up into here to take those sells. But we can't discredit longs either. We need to be able to play both sides of the market. So how we deliver into here is how this POI is going to gain relevance. And again, if we're leaving from a relevant supply level, you could also view this as counter order flow and wait for the 15 minute realignment to then possibly take this to the upside as well. So again, just kind of going into tomorrow, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself with the higher time frame and get too many projections out there. But ultimately, I would be looking at this level up here, okay, as a where are we here? Counter order flow, but pro trend. So if you want to just kind of look at, goodness, hold on. God damn it. Lost it again. Sorry about that, guys. Any of these two POIs, I'd be looking for something along the lines of this, right? And I mean, if we react to something in the larger POI, same thing, obviously added. So you're going to want to add, a proper order flow shift. Like we could start to look at, these as, I guess, sort of refined zones. But ultimately, let's just let order flow do its thing. We are pro trend. We are counter order flow. We want to see a 15 minute order flow shift in these regions. And then we're going to look for basically a, order flow shift. we want to look for a refined POI or a 15-minute POI to look for a 1-minute chalk and flip. And then furthermore, if we have a refined within the 15, we can then start to look for some sort of a seconds confirmation to get us in at a higher risk reward. So that's the sell sort of idea. Again, don't discredit above here as well. Obviously, this would be super counter order flow, possibly liquidating this high. I don't know that that's going to happen, but don't weigh it out. It's good to have options for all of these things. Don't be looking for a chalk and flip on a 1-minute chart just because we're in a 15-minute zone. Remember what the idea with order flow is that if order flow is bullish, we want to make sure that order flow confirms that it's bearish. Not on a 1-minute chart. We want to see that on the 15, right? We want to, like, if we had a 15-minute order flow shift, let's look at a 15-minute order flow shift back down, right? If we had a 1-minute order flow shift down here, then we would look for a 1-minute order flow shift in here, right? So, like, it's all relative to the time frames that you're utilizing to look at these order flow shifts and realignments. So I hope that makes sense. We'll revisit this tomorrow morning when I get back from the gym around 7:30. If there's any changes, I will post them. And yeah, as it stands right now, this is my more favorable setup. We're expecting a reaction from here. As long as we get something like this to basically induce us into these lows, we can take the sells down into here, take a good bit of your partials off, and then take this down into possibly new territorial lows if and when we liquidate the lows. So again, guys, take all this with a grain of salt. It's just how it looks right now. We'll have a little bit more information once we start pulling back a little bit further on whether or not longs are a reasonable approach to the market. But yeah, as it stands right now, I would love to see this kind of jump down into here, come back up, look for a realignment. And this will have taken all of this liquidity above these highs to then be able to move down into possibly new swing structure lows. So thanks for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow.